will check cooler. Round number one of Super Street action getting ready to come at us. And as we get ready to start with our race day eliminations, a little bit of quick track prep out there. Looks like the tractor's coming off. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get into round number one of eliminations, we'd like to have our invocation and our national anthem. And those of you, if you would, in the stands, please rise. Gentlemen, if you would, remove your cap. If you're a military veteran, you can salute for our national anthem. But first, it'll be Chaplain Kevin Wilson, Racers for Christ, leading us in our invocation. Kevin, if you would, please, sir.
Thank you, Bob. If you would bow with me, please. Heavenly Father, thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for the NHRA and the sport that we enjoy so much, Father. Thank you for our host track this weekend at National Trails Raceway. Father, the management and the crew, each and every one to present us such a beautiful facility and a safe racing surface. Father, for our nation, we ask for wisdom for its leadership, for our military around the world, Father, that your strong arm would protect them. Father, for our law enforcement, our fire, our safety personnel, that your eye would be upon them and they not be forgotten. Father, today, whether they be in the stands, whether they be in their cars, whether they be in the pits, Father, race fans, everyone, we ask that you would keep us safe. And it's in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, that we ask these things. Amen.
Now our Canadian national anthem in honor of our racers from Canada here with us this weekend. And now the national anthem of the United States. If you would, Doug, please. Well, we have had qualifying. We have set our fields. Going to do a little quick drag before we send our first pair out. Larry Chepskinski and Barney Barnhart, our first two 1090 cars. We've been qualifying. We've been running time trials. We've been setting our fields and getting everybody an opportunity to get their combination figured out for race day. It has now arrived. We will send them down track 2 by 2. We'll bring them back 1 by 1. Larry Chepskinski, the Indiana-based runner, the 70 Barracuda, going to be taking on Barney Barnhart, 66 Chevelle, the Blaster Machine. Our Division 3 Super Street Rep for the Jegs All-Star Race just a few weeks ago over in Joliet, Illinois, Route 66 Raceway. Barney, a defending champion at Route 66, didn't quite have the weekend that he wanted, but the gentleman at the wheel of the Blaster, Chevelle, always a tough competitor. Round number 1 of Super Street. Going to be rolling out from underneath the tower here at National Trail Raceway. For those of you with us today, thanks for coming out for the Buckeye Fuel Wars. If you want to pick up that souvenir T-shirt, the T-shirt shack, located right behind the Hot Rod Grill down there, you can pick up your Buckeye Fuel Wars event souvenir T-shirt. Have one. If you want to get somebody one for Christmas, you can sneak on over there, get it, and take it back to the car, the trailer, or whatever the case might be. Hide it. Just don't forget where you hid it when you bring it back and get it out for Christmas and get it wrapped up for a package. But anyway, you can pick up your event souvenir T-shirt. The T-shirt trailer down there right behind the Hot Rod Grill. Little drag of the track, putting a little fresh skim coat of rubber, making sure everything's good, sticky, and ready to rock before we send our 1090 Super Street cars down track. Round number 1 of eliminations. We've had time runs. We've had qualifying. We've had 3 shots at the racetrack in each of our fields, except for Top Dragster Comp and Top Sportsman, and they'll be back for their 3rd session. They will run their eliminations tomorrow. First round of eliminations for everybody today. 2nd round of eliminations as well for our Super Gas, Stock, and Super Comp cars. So basically, from here on out, it is race day stuff coming at you. Again, like I said, other than Top Dragster, Comp Eliminator, and Top Sportsman, we will have one more qualifying session for them a little bit later on, and then they will run their rounds of eliminations tomorrow. '70 Barracuda, left-hand side. 66 Chevelle on the right. Sportsman racing at its finest. 1090 up on the scoreboard. We have 3 super categories of competition. Super Street at 1090. Super Gas at 990. Super Comp at 890. Gives the opportunity for everybody to run and have the same target to shoot for. Better out of the gate, Barney. Better at the finish line, Larry. Chepskinski goes 10.905. Barney goes down track, takes the finish line stripe, breaks out by 4 thousandths of a second, 10.89.6. And the Blaster, Chevelle, out in round number 1. Jeff Fisher and Scotty Reinschild rolling in next. The big block, 69 Corvette. Out of Fast Lube and McLaughlin Oil over here on the right-hand side. Fisher's little 67 Nova there on the left. Now, if you're wondering why don't we just send them down track like in Top Dragster, Top Sportsman, and the quickest car wins, well, that in itself is handicap racing in those 2 categories. But let me simplify it for you as we work these 2 cars and the next pair down the racetrack. Scotty Reinschild out in front. Identical lights, but Scotty too much stripe. 1089.5 breaks out. Jeff Fisher, another dead on 1090 run at 138 miles an hour. If great-grandma Matilda died and left you $13 million, you could build yourself a pretty wild race car like Fred Squires or Richard Sperry there. Red light start by Fred, leaving before the tree was activated. Richard gets a free ride into round number 2 and another 1090. Whoa. Talk about the boys being dialed up, tuned in, and ready to go. 3 winners, all of them running dead on the 1090 number. Squires Chevy 2, unfortunately, now has lane choice on the highway back to Defiance. Scotty Sadler and Mike Ruzica rolling in next. The Mopar, Mikey out of Asheville, the right-hand side. Sattler on the left lane. Getting back to great-grandma Matilda. If she left you $13 million, you could build yourself a pretty nasty outrod. You go out and outrun everybody. 1088 double breakout win goes to Ruzica at 130 miles an hour. 1085 by Scott Sattler at 134. Mark Smith and Paul Brown pull in next. But if you don't have a great-grandma Matilda that died and left you $13 million, and you're doing this because you work 2 jobs, have the wife, the ex-wife, 4 kids, and take care of your ex-wife's mother-in-law, you don't quite have the same $13 million budget. You get the idea. Everybody shoots for the same target, and that way it's not a matter of who's got the most money. It's who can tune the most, who can drive the best, and come out on top at the end of the day. Mark Smith's going to give it a ride. His Mustang in the left lane. Paul Brown's dart over here on the right-hand side. .1091.1 by Paul Brown, 127 miles an hour, gets the win. Mark Smith, unfortunately, now has a head start back to Bowling Green. The Mustang going 1089.0. Riding on the right-hand side, the 70 Chevelle. Jeremy Mason's Camaro there in the left. 1096 at 144. Beats a 1097, also at 144. True margin of victory down at the other end of the racetrack for Jeremy. 27 ten-thousandths of a second at the finish line stripe. Can you say a gnat's hair? A frog's hair. That's pretty fine. Zach running. Randy Ship. Little red Vega out of Michigan. Little red Chevy Chevy Camaro out of Indiana. Ship left side. 008 at the hit. Goes 1094. That's good for the W. Zach was a little tardy. Tried to make it up at the other end of the racetrack. And, well, 2 wrongs don't make a right. I don't care who you are and how you cook it. 1084 to $143. Zach's day is done with the Vega. He'll be back in the Super Stocker. Come up in a little bit. Brian Horton in the Malibu. And Craig Meyer in his 62 Fury. Horton on the left-hand side, 1094.3. Meyer gets the win, though. 1091.6 and 41 ten-thousandths of a second. Meyer squeezing that one out at the other end of the racetrack. Brian Horton had the better light. Meyer makes the better run. As Jerry Spoor rolls in. Jerry at the wheel of his 64 Ford Thunderbolt. 460 cubic inch Ford combination. Alongside Frank Vincent, Ford versus Chevrolet. The Thunderbolt, one of the original muscle cars. Over on the left-hand side of the racetrack, Frankie Vincent's Little Nova out of Bath. Frank's going to get the win. Jerry goes red by 6 thousandths of a second. Vincent says, yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. 1092 at 126 by Frank. Spores 11 flat at 147. Next pair rolling in, Rudy Matthews. Taking on Bill Werby. Werby out of Dwight, Illinois. He's got the later model, 88 Camaro here on the right-hand side. Rudy Matthews, always a tough customer in super street action. Past champ, national event winner, divisional event winner. Big block powered, 69 Camaro for Rudy. Working his way down the racetrack. Werby trying to give him a fit at the other end, goes 1088 at 136. Rudy gets the W. He was 009 on the tree, runs 1092 down at the other end of the racetrack. You saw the CoughlinCars.com scoreboard light up, significant of the fact that Rudy moves on to next round. Joe Cardamone, another first-generation Chevrolet Camaro, and Doug Wood, the Standards Testing Lab. Oldsmobile over on the right-hand side, runner out of Massillon over here in the right lane, 498 cubic inch. Big-motored Chevrolet, and Doug ain't another one of those customers. Been to the winner's circle before, but not going to be this weekend. 12 thousandths too quick off the starting line. Leaves the red bulb behind him. Cardamone gets the win, runner out of Baltimore. 1084 at 132. And this Camaro will be back. Bob Schmidt and Steve Yonkis. Schmidt on the left side, the 67 Chevy 2. Again, 70 years young out here rocking and rolling down the quarter mile. Steve Yonkis, tool and die man. Yonkis goes way red. I mean, so much red on this end of the racetrack, Rudolph's going to be jealous. And all of that, Bob Schmidt's got problems. His scoreboard still lit up because Yonkis left too quick. Yonkis then goes dead on 6. And Robert Schmidt coasting to a stop. Down there at the half-track mark, and we'll have to send the quad out to help Robert off the racetrack. Steve Yonkis is going to get to the time slip booth down there at the other end of the racetrack, and he's going to see what he ran. He's going to see what his red light was, and he's going to utter words like, "Son of a gun! Golly gee!" Maybe even a gosh darn it or two even. Dag nabbit. Could be a dag nabbit in there as well. But right now, Bob Schmidt's like, woo, I'll take it. And you know what? Round number 2 of Super Street is tomorrow. That means Robert's got time to fix whatever's ailing the little Chevy 2. The Grove City, Ohio runner says like, got to figure this one out. If I remember right, Bob had problems in the final time run session as well. So Bob put the brain cap on, get to thinking about what's ailing his deuce. Steve Yonkis is going to be loading up and has the opportunity to head home. Yeah, it looks like Bob Schmidt's able to get the Chevrolet fired back up. Just wanted to check and make sure. Wasn't putting any fluids down on the quarter mile. We appreciate that by Robert. Got it out of the groove, got it up next to the wall because, well, it's a lot easier to clean up a spot or a puddle next to the wall than it is a trail of fluid from one end of the racetrack to the other. We always appreciate it when our racers pull out of the main groove, get up next to the wall, stop, take a look at everything, make sure it's clean and dry before they motate on down to the other end of the racetrack. There's Butch Dresbach and Ryan Boland sit and wait patiently. Ford's a pair. One of them's all Ford. One of them's a Ford Delay, or a Chevord, however you want to look at it. Dresbach out of New Carlisle. Got that 88 Thunderbird. Swoopy, aerodynamic, rounded corners, and 430 cubic inches of Chevrolet for power. Ryan Boland's got the 79 Ford Fairmont, which I don't think has a round corner on it. Square, boxy, unaerodynamic, but 438 cubic inches of Ford power will help it get through the air just fine to be able to run a 1090 number. So round one of Super Street continuing on. Stock eliminator, left side of the ladder. First three pair, you all should already be in the lanes paired up. And Ryan Boland, 6 thousandths of a second too quick off the starting line. The Thunderbird with the bow tie underneath it goes 10.904, and we'll be back for round number 2. 11.04 by Boland after that red light start at 138. Wayne Kelly's Malibu rolls in next. The Indiana-based swimming pool contractor taking on Jeff McMillan's Mustang. I like this Ford. Talk about a guy who looks at Super Street with a different set of glasses. Jeff McMillan out of Pennsylvania certainly does so. A, it's not a Chevrolet Camaro or Chevy Nova. It's a 66 Mustang. B, it's not a big block combination. It's a little 289 cubic inch Ford. But I'm telling you what, he can run right there with the best of them. Out of the gate he goes. Wayne Kelly's Malibu alongside. Now the littlest motor will get out in front. The bigger motors use horsepower, torque, start a charge toward the top end, and he gets the win. Kelly, 1094 in the Malibu at 143. McMillan got down to the other end of the racetrack, 1086 at 113 miles an hour. And that, boys and girls, when you're looking to run 1090, is a skosh too quick. Your reigning division champ, meaning he garnered the most points in competition last year. Runner out of Hamilton, Rob Kropfeld's little 71 Vega wagon. 406 cubic inch. Small motored Chevrolet out of the gate and running. Jeremy Schell, the first edition, 64 Chevy 2 on the right-hand side. Big block combination. Here comes Kropfeld, top end, not going to get him. Double breakout, 1089.8. Gets the win for Jeremy, 1088.7 by Kropfeld. Coming up just a little bit short by 11 thousandths of a second down at the other end of the racetrack. Rick Watson, Alex Miller. Alex and Kropfeld met up in the finals of our Super Street Shootout last night. Rob got the win there. Bows out in the opening round here. See what Alex could do. Alex was runner-up last evening in his Monza out of Mansfield. Oh my. 009 reaction time, and you're second off the line. Alex Miller goes 007 on his reaction timers, runs dead on 4. In drag racing terms, that is a 11 thousandths package, meaning he was 11 thousandths of a second away from a perfect lap down the racetrack. Missed the starting line reaction time by 7 thousandths. Missed a perfect run by 4. Take the 7, add the 4. Wait a minute, I can do this. 11 thousandths of a second. Nice package. Ricky Ship, Jurassic up now. Another Chevrolet powered Ford, this time the Mustang. For the runner out of Elyria. Ricky Ship bringing his little Chevy 2 over. from Indiana. Good lights, both sides. Nice reaction time, both drivers. Win light goes to Jurassic. 10:91.8 at 135, beats a 10:91.7. Ed was 8 thousandths quicker off the starting line. Ricky was 1 thousandth quicker down the racetrack. You take the 8 minus the 1, 7 thousandths of a second. Margin of victory down at the other end. Denny Napier's Little Vega, the Eckerd Racing, Pataskala, Ohio-based team, taking on Chase Bat. Batman, the 68 Camaro. Over here on the right-hand side, one light's going to go to Napier, though. Batman does not fly this time. 10:91 at 121. Actually had the better lap, but he left second. Napier was 007 on the reaction timers. Left first, ran a little bit slower time, but still got to the finish line 17 thousandths of a second in front because he had the better leave on this end. It's what you call stealing one on the starting line. Gary Whitefoot, Kentucky-based Chevy S10, Satterley's Pontiac Firebird for Jason. 400 cubic inch combo, left-hand side. Finish line, winner picker says give it to Satterley. 10:92, beats a 10:92. 3 thou difference off the starting line, 1 thou difference at the finish line in their elapsed time, and a 1,000th of a second margin of victory. Can you say close racing? I knew you could. Anthony Tanner and Dan Funk. Tanner out of Kentucky, wheeling the Oldsmobile. Top end, gets the win light. 10:92 at 131. Dan Funk goes 007 on the reaction timers. Had the better light. Gets down to the other end of the racetrack. Should have whomped it one more time. By whomping it, I mean whomping the gas pedal. You can scrub off a little bit of elapsed time when you whomp it. It's a professional drag racing term, but we'll allow you to use it at home. Gary Fleener and Rod Ferris. Up next, Chevrolet Camaro's a pair, 71 for Ferris, the Dover-based runner. Fleener's got the 79 edition for the runner out of Port Clinton. A little bit better light goes to Port Clinton. Wind light goes to Port Clinton. 10:91.3 beats a 10:9.08. Fleener was 13 thousandths away from perfect on the reaction timer, and Ferris was not anywhere close. 10:91.3 at 138. Fleener gets to come back with his hot rod. Nicky Looney and Scotty Wyson working their way down track now. Looney at the wheel of the Thunderbird, and this one's all Ford. All blue oval. It is, I wouldn't lie to you. And he gets the win, 10:9.04 at 132. Wyson's Chevrolet out of Hebron. Goes 10:88 at $127. Attention in the pits. Attention in the pits, please. Super stock, there has been a revised ladder issued. Super stock, a revised ladder has been issued. Do want to make everybody aware, super stock, a revised ladder has been issued. Available on the trailer over there in the pavilion area. And we'll be online shortly. Kelly Sperry up, Chevy Nova, taking on Scott Mackey's Chevy Nova. First generation left side, second generation Chevy 2 right-hand light. Scott Mackey, the Babalu Racing Chevy Deuce, lights up the scoreboard, and the crowd, or at least the gal in the pink, goes wild. 10:97 at 143. Kelly Sperry, an 11:01 lap at 122. Attention in the pits. Attention in the pits, please. Stock eliminator, right side of the ladder. Your turn to come on down. Right-hand side of the ladder, stock eliminator. Needs you to the lanes, please. Phil Smida taking on Presley Wilkerson. Young lady taking on a gentleman known to go rounds. Presley out of Louisville, 25 years young, but she can manhandle and wheel that Corvette with the best of them. Out of the gate she goes. Phil and the little Cavalier out of Canfield. Presley out in front. And Phil's going to get the win. 1092 at 142. Presley just a little bit too much stripe. 10.88, a little too quick. Phil at the finish line garners the win. And he'll be back for round number 2. Dale Schaefer's 70 Ford Maverick for the engineer. Runner coming over from West Virginia. 460 cubic inch Ford. Let me tell you, Dale had to get a real large shoehorn to get a 460 combination underneath the hood of a Maverick. Taking on Rob Foss, little mouse motor, Chevy S10. S10 gets the win. 1089.9, under that perfect 1090 lap by 1,000. Goes 125 miles an hour. Dale Schaefer's Maverick, way quick. 1083, 131. Down at the other end, and unfortunately, he's going to be able to get a head start back to Chester. Sesko up on the left-hand lane. That'd be Robert at the wheel. Bitsy Satterley, right-hand side. Young man out of Lawrenceburg, Kentucky, wheeling the 68 Camaro. Green lights apparent, away we go. Ooh, this one's going to be fun. A couple of seasoned vets working their way down the quarter mile here at National Trail. Coming, top end, womp the throttle. 1093 beats a 1091. Sesko was 005 on the reaction timers. Runs through at 130 miles an hour. Gets the win and the finish line stripe by 22 thousandths of a second. You think this is easy? Let me tell you, the guys and gals here in Super Street, Super Gas, Super Comp make it look easy. It is anything but. Red light start by Ron Rudrick. Rudrick out of Fredericktown. Goes red by 13 thousandths of a second. Riley's Springfield, Kentucky based Chevy Camaro. In the immortal words of Arnold Schwarzenegger, will be back. 1092 at 127 for Riley. 1101 by Rod. Rod's run was, well, just nothing you want to write home about. Here comes Rodney Boyd. His Camaro on the right-hand side, and Jeff Reed taking on another one of our Chevy S10s in competition this weekend. Talked earlier in the day about we could open up a rapid delivery service with all of our S10s. Making parts deliveries for the Jag store. We can get it out and about real quick. Wind light this time going to go to the Camaro, though. The truck 1096 at 129. Rodney had the better light, gets down to the other end, looks over his shoulder, sizes up the nose of the truck, goes 1092 at 126 and gets the win. Ray Miller saw son Alex get the win a while ago in his Monza. Ray comes up in their 75 edition. The Miller Racing Transmission Team out of Mansfield taking on Matthew Ball's 91 S10 over there on the left-hand side. Stock Eliminator. Need all y'all to the staging lanes, please. Stock Eliminator. Need everybody to the lanes for pairings. First 3 pair are in. Left side of the ladder's in. Right side of the ladder, we need you. Fill out the rest of the story. Matthew Ball trying to steal one away from Ray. Top end, gets it done. 1092, 132, had the better light. Ray Miller goes 1087 at 132 miles an hour. And Alex just got a full-time crew chief. Dad Ray will be assisting. Denny Floyd and Morgan Napier. Morgan up, the 91 Beretta. Understand Morgan just completing testing and receiving her registered nurse certification. So the young lady at the wheel of the Beretta over here on the Sunoco side of the racetrack out of Pataskala makes the short toe down. Having a good weekend. Got the certificate. Registered nurse. Just went 1089 at 129. Morgan's day is done. 1095 by Floyd. 139 miles an hour. Drew Elliott's Chevy S10. Sean Pitts, Chevy Camaro. LS powered Camaro on the right-hand side. Taking on a little 355 carbureted edition for the truck. Sean gets the win. 1091.6 beats a 1091.2. A little bit better out of the gate was Sean. A little bit better at the stripe was Sean. Coming back for round number 2 is Sean. Frank Jenkins, Chris Balcom. Balcom's Oldsmobile out of Indiana has been running on mean this weekend. 454 rat motored Chevrolet. Underneath the hood, taking on the 540 cubic inch. Jackson Racing powered 63 Pontiac Le Mans. Frank Jenkins. Win light's going to go to Balcom. Double breakout. Now in that situation, both cars under the 1090 index. Frank was further away when 1080 won. Chris was closer to the 1090 with a 1084. So Chris gets the win light. He gets to come back and play. Dave Whitefoot, final car. Super Street round number 1. The bye run goes to the runner out of Kentucky. Small block powered 69 Camaro. Stock Eliminator round number 1 getting ready to come up next. Handicap racing in the most restricted of NHRA competitive classes. Whitefoot 1087, 129 miles per at the other end of the racetrack.